sustainable financing for refugees. The study assessed the funding modalities, the extent to which the local government budgets respond to refugee influxes, and the impact of the continuous arrival of refugees on service delivery. Uganda now hosts over 1.4 million refugees, and the numbers rose significantly following the recent upsurge of violence in neighboring South Sudan. With us in studio tonight to share the findings is Julius Mukunda, the Executive Director of the Civil Society Budget Advocacy Group. Welcome, Julius.
Thank you.
What prompted the study?
The study is a result of lack of information to the extent to which public resources have been used in addressing refugee problems. That's number one. Number two was also that we felt that the current funding modality was not going to be sustainable, because refugee management and crisis is being treated like a disaster, which means that it will come and go. And when we looked back, we were told that for the last 30 years we have been hosting refugees in this country. So as such, we felt that we needed to look at how sustainably we can finance refugee programs in this country.
Now, in 2017, the President, Yoweri Museveni, hosted the Refugee Solidarity Summit here in the country, and of course, over $300 million was solicited from different partners. Did you find that this money was put to good use?
No, and I think that's our biggest challenge, was that all this money, we cannot be able to touch it. Like any other government program, we can track how much money has gone to malaria. For Ministry of Finance, we got Ministry of Health, we got the district, we got the health center. But for refugee programs, it has been a bit unique, because it is very difficult to track to see how much money, for example, has gone to Yumbe, and how Yumbe district has used this money to address the refugee programs. And as such, we felt as civil society organizations and as citizens of Uganda, we have a greater role to play to ensure that we monitor how refugee funds are utilized in this country. You
did find in your study that some of the host districts, including Ajumani, Moyo, and the Sinjoro district, were not playing a role in management of the affairs, when it comes to refugee management in those particular districts. What should change?
Yes, I think what the biggest one of the findings we found out was that actually districts are not consulted on how they should manage the refugee influx. For example, Yumbe, Koboko, Arua, even the others, is that right now what happens is that you have resources come into the district, and they tell the district how they are supposed to spend the money. So resources come with conditions attached. However, these are districts who need capacity to manage this particular program. These are the districts who are not at risk, but where they are best is that the potential of refugees coming to their country. I mean, if you are bordering Sudan, definitely is that you are going to have refugees in the country. So you find that money is being spent on providing relief items, but money is not being spent on a district to build their capacity to manage this particular crisis. Especially, how can you turn a refugee population into a productive population? Today, when we were releasing this study, somebody from Mumbai, told us that he said that, do you know that for every hour you will find more than 20 women carrying firewood, for example? So it means that in terms of, and he said, used to be a green district, it's now a brown district. So it means that if the district had been given money, it would have prioritized environmental protection as one of its mandate. So we feel that government needs to build the capacity. We need to have programs to build the capacity of local governments who are at the forefront of this service delivery to manage these refugee programs.
You did also, hint on environmental degradation, but we also know that, your study found out that there is a lot of pressure on service delivery. What are the recommendations, to those two factors?
It is so shocking that as the government is sending money to districts in this country, they use the formula, and one of the variables that they use is the number of people, the population. So, like for Yumbe, which has got 500,000 people as their population, their budget still goes to fund district at 500,000 people. And yet, if you have Yumbe plus the refugees, they come to around like 800,000 people. So the pressure on service delivery is extremely so high, especially in health and education. You have the people-teacher ratio extremely so high. You have people visiting the clinics, it's just extremely so high. So there is too much pressure at service delivery, and they were telling us that there are indicators and indices of measuring the welfare and of being in this district is extremely so low. In fact, one person said, we are just only building classrooms, we are not building schools. So even the few classroom blocks they are putting up together, there are no teachers to teach, and therefore children are not learning. And I think, and that's why we are saying the way we are spending money is not sustainable. We need to build the capacity of these districts, of the host communities, especially host communities. God forbid, if I ever become a refugee, I need to be in a community that is welcoming. But I don't need to go into a community where they are feeling that I'm going to be treated better than them.
Let's quickly end this at the point of, regional engagement. How do we curb the causes of the refugees? Quickly, in about a few seconds.
And I think that's what also came out. It was that I think we also need to, the amount of energy we are putting in the management of refugees should at the same time be equal to the amount of energy we are putting in the governance situation, in the political, in the addressing the political problems that trigger refugees. South Sudan, Congo, Burundi, we need to be able to engage equally than saying, oh, we're a nice country, we welcome every refugee. We should also say, we're a nice country, we're engaging you to sort out your politics and stop the refugee influx.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Julius
you so
Mukunda.
much.
He is the Executive Director at the Civil Society Advocacy Group, or CSBAG. Let's move on, because the Ministry of Works and Transport has today launched a new computerized driving permit. The permit, which was launched together with Face Technologies, has a number of new features, key among them which is incorporation of the driver's biometric data. According to Face Technologies, the new computerized driving permit will greatly reduce